I collect Batman things, you know, like this fucking thing. I've got 25 of these fucking things in my house.
You have one that's 7 foot tall in your bedroom.
I've got a life-size one, yeah.
You directed Perfume Quest. I also see on your resume something called Pure Imagination. There's a little bit of Willy Wonka kind of esque-ness going on in here. Were these things that every little thing you were working on up until just came as a part of the script, or were there parts of it that you were always working on and you just got a lot of that back into it at the end?
Well, to be honest, when I started writing this movie, I was actually, I had writer's block on a different project. I was writing an adaptation of the Sammy Petrillo and Jerry Lewis story, and I sort of lost my mind trying to figure out what that story was, to be honest. And so as an experiment, I took an idea that I had for a perfume commercial and decided to turn it into a short film. And if you point to any corner of this movie, it's something that I've either experienced or something that I'm interested in, and I just kind of smashed it all together and congealed it into my screenplay.
Both from the writing side and the performance side, are there parts of you that had any issue reconciling why these two would consider each other to be together at any point in this relationship?
Not me, personally.
Seemed a bit daft to me. I said, what am I doing in this movie? I don't belong in it, you know? This character shouldn't be with her.
This movie was made for you, I believe, actually. That's how it felt.
The point was for his character to be so wildly misguided, but also equally funny and charming, and obviously I find those qualities in Tim, and so it actually was incredibly easy for me to imagine him charming some beautiful Italian woman on a vacation, and that happens every day.
Pretenses. She might have thought it was something bigger than I was in the world, you know.
You know, I actually feel like Francesca's like a younger version of me. I was that girl once. I don't know if I'll ever be that girl again, but it was lovely to play her, and I would have completely fallen for Mark, like, no question, you know. I saw the charm right away.
Yeah, well, to each his own.
Exactly.
There's that universal idea of getting caught into memories, even if you have something going on in your life that is going, whether it's purely the right way or you have to work on a little bit, having those sense memories that kind of keep you in the past. Is it easy to also kind of reference just the sense, or are there other things that remind you of those times?
For me personally, it's a lot about music. Like, you put on a song and I go places with, like, I travel. So, but I think perfume is like I really did learn that aspect with the movie, because there's some scents that like remind me of my mother. So like they'll bring me back in time, but it was always more sound for me. So I guess I did learn something new.
It's a bit of mystery why we remember things, isn't it? What's the point? We should be forgetting. I can't remember where I put my keys this morning, you know. I wish they smelled like perfume.
I second that.
I love that.
And you mentioned, you know, the idea of Mark kind of being, you know, you imagined him in that. Did you have a relationship beforehand, and that's why you kind of knew he was the person, or you jumped?
I had a one-way relationship with him. He didn't know who I was for many, many years.
I knew Owen quite well.
Yeah, he knows my boyfriend Owen, and you also know Natalie Wiseblood, who I directed a lot of her music videos. So I think you kind of had them vouch for me.
Yeah, that's right. I called Natalie from Wiseblood, one of the greats.
From Liverpool, you called her.
And I said, well, Natalie, what's the deal with this one? Is she all right? And she said, you were. And that's all I needed to know. Plus a little bit of money didn't hurt.
That's a good combo.
That's right.
If you did have all your own disposable income to not worry about how much you have to pay for something from Andy Rooney's past or anybody else's past, what would be the item that you wanted from somebody's past?
Okay, well, I really wanted Don Rickles' oil painting collection. It was a self-portrait collection, and I was bidding feverishly at that Julian auction, and I was not successful. But if I could go back, I would have won.
Does it feel weird, though, doing that? Like, I remember Alex Trebek's, I think, vinyl collection went on, and I'm like, I just feel weird if I even went to attend. I mean, I didn't have the money, but even if I attended, there's something about it that feels weird.
Oh, it feels just right to me. I love it. I mean, there aren't a lot of people that I feel passionately about on that level where I want to own their tattered bathrobe, but Jerry Lewis and Mickey Rooney, they're just certain people. Frank Tashlin I collect, and a lot of like cartoonist artwork, but I'm actually not really that materialist of a person. I am actually quite a minimalist. Unlike the character, I just share interest.
I like that.
Can you imagine that?
Can you actually imagine that?
I collect Batman things, you know, like this fucking thing. I've got 25 of these fucking things in my house.
You have one that's 7 foot tall
Big,
in your
tall.
bedroom.
I've got a life-size one, yeah.
Wow.
So I love Batman. One of the great villains, in my opinion. He should be put away, this one. We must follow the law. You can't take the law into your own hands. That's what I say.
And we're committed to taking him down.
I'm for the
Now.
Joker. I'm for the Joker.
I think it would be a piece from a movie, The Titanic. The necklace that she wears, it's just like, I don't know how much that's worth. And I don't know if it's still like...
Heart of the Sea? Something along
Yeah,
those lines,
yeah. I mean, that would be nice. I'll take that.
So we have your wonderful cast here, but it'd be remiss not to talk about working with Kevin Klein and having him in that such a whimsical kind of role. Talk about just being able to get him to do that and then also working with him.
How much should we go on the record on that?
We got everything. I mean, where should I start with that? I mean, to be honest, there was somebody else that I had cast in that role.
That's what we want to get to. That's the good stuff.
Naughty.
Not by name.
This is what I'll say about this. We shot for one day with another actor. It did not work out.
You actually shot
It did not.
Yeah,
We shot for one day.
Total waste of my time.
It did not work out, which is, it ended up to be okay. All the respect in the world to that person. Kevin, who I have a relationship with in real life, stepped in, and I was sort of horrified and embarrassed because I would have offered the part to him on day one if I knew that was an option. But
I thought you did, and
I
it was a
must
little
say
bit like you were
something.
embarrassed to ask him, and it was a whole thing.
I was
I was
violently
begging her to ask him, and I said, you know what? I will ask him. I'm very charming. I can make it happen. She goes, no. It's not going to
She
happen.
is
I'm
charming.
like, I'm telling you. I'm offering again. No. And then, so I feel like my manifestation powers were strong enough that it happened.
I believe
got
that
me
she
to-
did do that.
You got me to do the movie by saying that Kevin Klein might do it, which was a lie, but that turned out to be true.
It was
the
a
powers were already
complete
working.
marketing scheme
Yeah.
to get you
No, we were
wrapped
working
up.
from the back.
But he was one of my heroes growing up, one of the greats, you know, for real. And to work with him was a dream come true. And not only did I work with him, but I got to break bread with him and make good times and play the piano with
Randy
him.
Newman
Play
all night
Randy
long.
Newman
Love
and
that.
got to know him as a man and the family as a family, you know, and very welcoming and a beautiful person.
And he just plays the part, in my opinion, with complete truth and groundedness, because it was everybody else's inclination to play the part whimsically. And I wanted to go completely the opposite from that, because Tim's character is so misguided. I was like, he actually should be the voice of reason in the movie, maybe.
Yeah.
And so he just did it in a very grounded way. I barely needed to direct him. He just walks on a set and knows what to do. So that was a pleasure.
What I loved about that scene is that in the end, or those scenes, he'll go to him for advice, like a therapist, like someone that knows more. And I'm like, that is so special. Like, I love that, you know, how that came across. It was just really, really sweet.
Was it all shot in order too? Because I imagine, you know, again, for us seeing him on screen, just like walking into a room and seeing it behind the piano in this room filled with all these test tubes and everything else going on. Like, I imagine if that's the first time you're walking into it too, it must feel very like surreal in a way.
Yeah, and we wanted to pull the rug out from under people a little bit with him playing it like a real person. And then I won't spoil the end of the movie, but more is revealed about that character later that grounds him even more.
Guys, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.